Hey, everybody, and welcome to Memento, a podcast by Washington Avenue Christian Church. See, here at Washington Avenue, we understand that sometimes you forget who you are, and sometimes we forget what we're supposed to do, and sometimes we even forget what we talked about on Sunday morning. So in an effort to remind ourselves of who we are and what we're supposed to do and what we talked about on Sunday morning, we bring you Memento. What's up, Jake?
What's up?
How's it going? It's good. Good. Hey, this is week number 2 with our microphones.
Yes.
And I just have to make an observation real quick about what I'm going to assume was the microphones. If you weren't here for the microphones, we also noticed that they smell like Payless Shoe Source. If you remember that smell.
It smells amazing.
These things smell like that. But anyway, last week, Jake, between this podcast airing on Thursday and Sunday at church,
yes,
I received no less than 5 compliments on the podcast, which has never happened before, ever.
Wow.
So thank you.
It has to be the microphones.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
my ignorance in regards to teen culture.
That.
Or a combination of the two.
No, it's definitely the microphones, dude.
I think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for listening and for paying attention to our ramblings. I appreciate it, and it's good to know that people are, in fact, paying attention. Before we get started, Jake.
Yes.
I just want to ask, because I'm curious, what's the best sermon you've ever heard?
Oh, dang, bro. I was not prepared for that question at all. Dude, that's a good question. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, man. I listen to a lot of sermons.
It's the first thing that comes to mind.
Obviously.
Don't you dare.
Yep. What do you think, bro? What did you think I was going to say? Shoot, I don't know. Probably anything by Michael Defazio is great.
Greg.
I also like Mark Scott. Mark Scott is great. He does a lot of movements with his body, which I think are...
Mark Scott does?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I don't think that I remember that.
Yeah, it's like very intentional.
Yeah.
It's not like just moving. He's like, he drops a bomb and he's like moves his whole body
Does he
down.
do that when he drops
Yeah,
a bomb?
his whole arm right there. Yeah. Just like, yep. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a great one. Great
I
question.
freaking knew you were going to say Defazio.
There's
nothing wrong with that. I love Michael
what do you
Defazio.
expect,
And if,
man?
Michael, if you stumble across this,
I highly
I
doubt
love
it.
your stuff.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I like Kyle Idelman too.
Yeah, he's good.
Kyle Idelman's good.
I don't think Kyle will ever see this.
Probably not.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
If he was like, I was listening to these
They're
two
like,
idiots
oh,
in Texas
wow.
the other day.
They were talking about Kyle Idelman. Yeah.
He talks
Yeah.
about himself in third person.
Yeah. They were talking about Kyle, me, the guy named Kyle. What's your favorite sermon?
Well, there are 2 that are probably not necessarily like the best sermons
Oh,
that I've ever heard.
thanks.
Well,
And-
probably the best, but at least the most memorable sermons that I've ever heard. And they were both at Ozark Christian College. And it's funny because one was by my mentor and one was by my mentor's mentor, who was also kind of my mentor. So Shane preached his first sermon at Ozark. He preached on Isaiah 1, like 10 through 20,
Sorry.
which is just...
That's how NT writes it.
Isaiah. Anyway,
Sorry.
he preached on Isaiah 1, 10 through 20, which is just a really like savage passage where God's just really ticked off at Israel. And Shane preached on that. And the sermon itself was good, but what made it most memorable is like Shane was like, I really just feel like I'm not illustrating this very well. Hang on. And he like went around behind the grand piano and sat down and started playing the grand piano and like sang a song that he wrote to illustrate the point he was trying to communicate in his sermon.
That's dope. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's
It was
super
insane.
Cool. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then another one was Mark Moore. Shane's, that would have been probably my sophomore, but maybe my junior year at Ozark. And Mark's was definitely my sophomore year at Ozark, and he was talking, and again, I don't necessarily remember the text, but the premise was like that we're just like what we define as blessing is stupid. And he was talking about like how much stuff we have. And he said, even you like stupid broke college kids have way too much stuff.
Yeah.
So he challenged us. Like his sermon was short, but the challenge was like, go to your room and like find the stuff that you don't need and like bring it up here and donate it. And we're going to do like a campus wide garage sale and donate like all the proceeds to some missions organization.
That's cool.
And it was insane. Like literally like $10,000 worth of stuff was donated.
Wow.
Like people were donating like iPods because iPads didn't exist yet, but insane. Like
That's
it
awesome.
was
I remember
bonkers.
I think you've actually told me about that.
Yeah.
That sermon.
Cool. Yeah. It was wild. Really good. Probably more for the illustrations and like that
like practical, like
than
what's
the
gonna
actual
happen.
content.
Yeah.
I do love me a good Mark Scott sermon.
Yeah.
And a Michael Defazio sermon.
I don't know, man. It's hard for me to remember like exact sermons. Like I remember how they make me feel. I don't necessarily remember and they're definitely like in my brain and like they've changed the way that I think, and I just might not compute it with like an exact sermon.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's move into the purpose of this podcast, which is talking about this week's sermon. So,
Sounds good.
how to make you feel, Jake? Just kidding. But we can talk about that if you want to.
Yeah.
I loved this week's sermon. I thought that it was really great. I thought Lenny did a really good job in a really challenging
No, for sure.
position of where like 3 of us got to attack the practicum last time. Lenny had to do it all on his own, and I thought that he did a really, really good job.
Yeah.
Of being really practical, right? Because my
sure.
temptation on my own there would have just been to like, well, I'll just preach my own sermon over
just
like
preach
the
a
bulk
sermon.
of this text.
Yeah.
Condense it down to a line and make it a whole sermon and talk about all the things. But Lenny did a really, really great job of keeping it super, super practical.
Yeah.
Sorry, there was an inconvenient spot to clear my nose. I apologize.
Was there a nose?
Yes. And again,
Sound like your throat, dude.
was kind of
Just like
drainage.
like
Well,
I
it
don't
was
even
in
know
my-
how to do that.
It was in my nose.
Like,
And it went down. Isaac, you can edit this part out if you want to.
sorry.
So, because it was the practicum, it was pretty applicable, right? That was the point. So, let me just start off by asking, like, what was, like, one concrete thing that you took away from this week's message?
Yeah. So even though I don't know if you'd necessarily meant it like this, but I think you did.
If you take mine, I'll kill you.
I hope it's not.
Don't look at my notes.
I'm not looking.
You
at
are.
your
You're
notes.
looking right
I
at
can't
him.
See him, bro.
Oh my gosh.
I can't see that far. Just this whole story that he started off with in the beginning. Just like the I wonder, of that like guy that he didn't even necessarily know. Just that, man. Just like I wonder what people think when they see me like out and about, and like what type of message I'm like portraying, like just that, just well, I don't even know if that's necessarily like a concrete thing, but it's just like I don't necessarily, I wonder what type of message I portray on a daily basis to people through my words, actions, and even just my appearance. So
Your appearance. With all those tattoos, probably think you're going to hell.
Yeah. I mean,
You're of the
some
devil.
people might. Yeah. I'm surprised you brought that up. Yeah.
You said appearance. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. Yeah, it's a big one. So.
Not to quote Defazio, but he would argue that the way that we dress ourselves is an act of worship. Because God created us and our bodies.
I like dressing myself, so maybe that's an act of worship. I don't know. Yeah.
Defazio says it is. So
Well, I like
if he's going to
Defazio,
be your
so
favorite
it's-
preacher, you have to
that's
accept
definitely
everything that he
truth.
says is truth. Not everything. Cool. Well, for me, I really liked that story a lot as well. I thought it was kind of a good setup to kind of filter everything through for the entirety of the sermon. There was one part that he... I got to look at my notes, and they're too far away.
I literally can't see.
And they're written in pencil, which I never do.
Oh, I thought you meant on your computer.
No.
was like, what kind of font is that?
On the offering envelope, because that's what they're really for. It's not for giving, it's just for sermon notes.
Honestly, I've never seen paper before, so I don't even...
Well, this is paper. It's made out of trees. You can color on it and draw on it and write on it.
It's a really bad idea. I don't know why we're doing that.
We've already blown 10 minutes of this thing. Jake, no, you did not say this.
I did not.
It's too smart for you. But Lenny said...
This knife to the... If that's anyone's fault, it's your fault for not mentoring me to be smart enough.
Yeah, I am not responsible for your intelligence.
I guess it's God's fault. So are you blaming God?
Lenny said in one of his things, think it before you speak it, which on its own is pretty good. Just like think about what you say before you say it. But then he went above and beyond, and he gave us an acronym for the word think. I had to write it down and look at my notes because I haven't committed the thing to memory yet.
Yeah.
But in thinking it before you speak it, you don't just like think, is this the right thing to say? But you run it through this gambit. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it needed? And is it kind? And I did not look at my notes when I said that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So smart.
Did I get the I right? I said inspirational. Is that the right one? Did I get that right?
I just believed you.
I got it. Anyway, I thought that was really, really good. Because I don't always do that. And I think that I do most of those things. And one thing that I was maybe a little bit confused about, and maybe you guys can help me clarify this, is like, does it have to hit all 5 categories before you say it?
Yeah.
Because
like what equates to...
Sometimes things that we say aren't inspiring.
Yeah. Maybe it was
that
just
a bad thing?
For the sake of the acronym.
But I guess you could, even in a critique, be inspiring people to be better.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good questions, man. Yeah, I don't know.
We should talk about them.
Also, like, how long is it going to take you to, like, I don't know. I'd probably speak too fast sometimes. But, like, if everything that, maybe, obviously this isn't one of these meetings, but, like, everything that I ever say, I have to, like, go through those 5 things. Like, I'm just going to be, like, for, like, so long.
Well,
I think it's, like, when it's something important.
Yeah.
And you know it's something important, that's a good thing to do it through, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially, maybe, I'm trying to remember, like, where that fell in the sermon and textually where that fell as well, but also maybe in, like, the, in confrontation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, I think it, honestly, like, I think it just becomes more of a general rule than it does, like, you just habitually do it, you know? Like, it's not like you just stop saying things that aren't good, you know, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, the more you do it, you just stop.
In theory.
In theory, yeah. Yeah. If you do it.
Yeah.
Long enough.
Yeah,
but also you're a human, so you'll probably mess up.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm not going to think every time, you know?
Right, yeah.
So.
But progress over perfection is kind of the goal here.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that stuff too.
Awesome. Anything else on that? Next question?
Next question.
Cool. I forgot to mention, I'd love for somebody who's watching this to keep count of how often Jake says like in this video.
Have I done it
a few times?
Gosh.
Not enough that I would have noticed if I wasn't already paying attention to it beforehand.
Yeah.
But you brought it up last week.
I did. Well, it's just Isaac mentioned that I only say it when I'm just like in normal conversation.
Yeah.
But
which is, I guess, is good because
we want this is normal conversation.
Be like normal conversation.
Yeah, but whenever I watch it or like listen to it, sometimes I just want to see what I sound like. I say like every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, you said it 4 times in that sentence alone.
Really?
Two of them.
I literally don't.
No, but listen, 2 of them actually like
okay
fit, and there I just did it. But 2 of them.
I don't even
were just
hear
fillers.
It. Like that, it's like such a buffer in my mind that I don't even hear it. I don't even understand how that's possible. How can you say a word and not hear it?
Jake wants to know.
Science.
Jake wants to know lots and lots of things, but what Jake really wants to know right now is how's it possible
I really
want
to know how you can.
Can I ask the question? You just said like again.
Okay.
Jake really wants to know, how's it possible to be in the world but not of the world?
Yeah.
Answer your own question, fool.
Dude, yeah, it's a great question. I mean...
Way to pump yourself up there.
I didn't even realize I was saying that. Yeah, I don't know. When I say it's a good question, I mean I don't know how to answer my own question. I think it's just kind of complicated to me because I don't know. Like I went to this college ministry. What's it called? Like breakout session. Yeah, I know I'm saying like, dude, I heard it that time. I went to a college breakout session and they were talking about college ministry. And one of the things that they said is to like really engage college students, you have to like become a part of their culture and like just do everything that they do and like just be with them everywhere. So like that's kind of I kind of feel like that works for everyone, you know, like I don't know if it necessarily has to be college students, but how can you be a part of the culture without like doing what the culture is doing? You know, I think that's the hard thing is like, can I go to a bar and like not drink, or you know what I'm saying? Or like, can you drink and like not get drunk, or, you know, all the, just those types of things, you know, like, am I going to go at what point can I go into the world, but be still not of the world, you know?
Yeah. I feel like all you did was just like talk a bunch and then flip the question to me
Yep.
without giving any concrete answer at all. You just illustrated and rephrased the question.
You're welcome.
And I know that that's the thing that we're supposed to do, right? That's straight out of Romans.
Yeah.
Be in the world, but not of the world, which we interpret to mean like don't do the things that the world does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe to blend some of Paul's writings together, he would say everything in moderation. So if you want to go to the bar, go hang out.
Yeah.
If that's where your peers are and it's an opportunity for you to be in fellowship with your peers, go to the bar.
Yeah.
If you want to have a drink, have a drink. But don't drink too much.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation. Don't cause other people to stumble, which is kind of like this whole other thing. It's like, well,
yeah.
you know? I'm also not answering the question. I'm just dancing around it too because like
it's a hard question.
Great question, and it's I really don't know other than I think to bring it back to Ephesians, but also Romans and everywhere else that we've been Ephesians and Romans 12 and 1 Corinthians 13, he would say like it's all rooted in love, right? And so in as much as you're not crossing like the hard defined lines of whatever it is that you're participating in, I just used the bar as the example because that's the bar that you set to use.
Yeah.
Mixed metaphors there. Do it out of and driven by love, not selfish gain or anything.
It's a good mindset
of that nature. You know, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough, man. I ask the question without knowing the answer. And sometimes I also think.
Supposed to give us layups, Jake.
Sorry.
Just kidding. I like a challenge.
Sometimes I think too, like, when I think Christians like try and be like of the world, but not in the world, we just get like crappier versions of the world, if that makes sense.
Contemporary Christian music in the 90s?
Yes. Yeah. Just like
and
contemporary music that's like, you know, a Katy Perry song, but it just like says Jesus instead, you know?
Jesus, you're a firework.
Yes.
Right?
I don't even know how to comprehend what you just did into the microphone, bro. But yeah, no, like, I just think sometimes instead of being of the world, like we take it the wrong way. You know, we should maybe
like those If you have these shirts, I apologize. Kind of, but those stupid like shirts.
Those stupid. Yeah,
That are
no,
just
like let's catch up with Jesus.
Yeah,
or
exactly. I was thinking
Jesus
about the
is
Heinz
my
ketchup
lifeguard.
one too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Like Reese's, but it's spelled Jesus. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is like,
Gagging.
why can't we go when I'm wearing one?
But that's fine
Yeah.
because like that's not.
Yeah.
That's like something that somebody created
Yeah.
and was inspired to create. It's not a copy of something that somebody else did.
Yeah.
Right. It's not.
Yeah.
The term is kitsch. Right. It's not kitschy. That is art. It's not kitsch, which is like anti-art essentially.
Yeah.
I learned that from Oscar on The Office, actually.
Nice.
Kitsch.
That's good.
I didn't learn kitsch. I knew that term, but he
didn't.
kind of defined it for me.
Yeah. That makes,
It's the episode
you
where
learn a
Angela
lot of
has the
stuff on The
babies that
Office.
are dressed up like jazz players.
Oh,
on the
nice.
poster.
Yeah.
You
It's a
don't
good
know what I'm talking
episode.
about, but it's
No, I do. I absolutely do. I remember the poster.
It's kitsch. It's literally the opposite.
I don't remember that context, but I remember the poster. So Isaac's nodding his head.
Bringing everything to you.
Yes.
Isaac is the resident Office expert, and I'm getting a nod of affirmation, so
Yeah.
I know I'm on the right track here. Trying to catch up with The Office. I've seen it.
I
I've seen it.
was about to say
No. I've
That's
seen
confusing.
it. I just haven't seen it enough to like
no
apply it.
to your life. Be like,
Always.
do you remember that episode?
Except I just did.
Yeah. Good job.
Next question.
This pillow, man.
He's
I'm gonna
struggling.
move this pillow.
No, you're not a slouchy.
Yeah, that's why I don't like the pillow.
Paul encourages us to not only take off the old self, but to put on the new self. Old ways are replaced by new ways. In your life, Jake, in your life, how have you seen God replace an old behavior with a new one?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I thought about that question
good.
a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a ton of behaviors. I could talk for an hour and a half about that if I wanted to, but I think probably the biggest one for me is just the fact, and I'm still working on this too. Like, it's not like and I think maybe we've said this in normal conversation, or maybe we've talked about this on the podcast. That's weird that it's like morphing into one thing and I don't remember.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like I just like threw on the hoodie of my new self. Like, it's like I'm like putting the hoodie on real slowly, you know, and it's not like fully on. But probably like the biggest transformation that I've seen God do in me is just not receiving my love from like being needed from other people, you know, and I'm still working on that. Like, that's a big thing for me. But like, I'm moving towards not doing that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Really good. I'll affirm that in you as well, because I've just known you long enough to know
Yeah.
most everything about you.
Yep.
And I can absolutely say that that's true, which is, you know, in the career that you're in, it's kind of like this glorified thing, right? Like,
Yep.
helping people
It's like kind of the
is
job.
kind of our job.
Yeah.
And that you're able to like still do that and it not be like the primary area from wherein you draw love and acceptance and all of that. It's just
Yeah.
good stuff. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. You went real deep there.
Sorry,
I was
bro.
like,
Yeah, I mean, I could have
I don't
gone a million ways, but
Sure.
I was like, I'll
Uh-huh.
just go this way. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's just like understanding that I get to do those things like as a gift, and like my only love, true love, like comes from God.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's when I'm healthy, you know, like
Yeah.
that's when I'm emotionally and spiritually healthy. I mean, probably even physically healthy. It's like when I'm in that state of mind. But as I spiral down into not being healthy, like I can go back to those ways of viewing the world and seeing like, if I do this, then I gain value and I like can gain love from others. And, you know, if I say I'm going to do something for myself and then someone asks me to do something and I choose to do that instead, like, that's not good sometimes.
Sure.
You know, there's a balance.
Yeah.
Drop my ring.
Because you fool with it.
Yeah. I can't help it.
Yeah. I thought getting the tattoos.
Yeah,
was the
it's kind of,
purpose.
I've been switching it between the hands, but I kind of like it because it's
Confusing.
gold.
Except you
It's not even gold; it's bronze.
fool with it. So what you're not saying and saying is like very much like Enneagram speak, right? You were without using the terms.
Yes.
Like you were.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna lean into Enneagram speak. If you have a problem with the Enneagram, I'm sorry. It's helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm an Enneagram 5.
Yes.
Right. And which means that I want all the information, all of the time, about everything. And I will like literally like research myself into paralysis until like somebody else jumps in and makes the decision for me, or it's past time to make the decision and it's irrelevant and I don't have to worry about it. But either way, it's like research, and it's rooted in greed, and in feeling inadequate. And so, when I'm spiraling, I go to a 7, which is just like chaos and like starting and stopping a bunch of different things, and nothing is centered and rooted, and nothing is ever finished. When that's disintegration, and when I'm integrating, growing, I go to an 8, which is a little bit more assertive. I tend to speak up for myself, and I feel like I'm in a really I'm growing into doing that pretty well.
Yeah.
I kind of made it like my focus for this year is just to be, and this is 8-ish in a way, I suppose, just being more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I've been doing that more and better in 2022.
Yeah.
Which has been a fascinating and painful, and because I like know how to be vulnerable, but I don't know how to respond to being vulnerable, if that makes sense. You know? Like, okay, it's like, here's me.
Now what?
Now am I supposed to cry right now?
Yeah.
Or
am I supposed to?
like,
what are
do
emotions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man. Yeah. Not to just have an affirming party, but like you've definitely been doing a great job at that. And as a guy who hangs out with you like pretty much every day for the past 5 years, like 100%, I've seen you grow so much in that this year, and not only just in like your normal conversations, but in your preaching as well, you know, and that's a big deal, I think, to be able to stand up on stage and be like, hey, look, this is a secret of mine, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something, and I appreciate you leading, because I knew, A, that you would be more vulnerable than me, which would cause me to be vulnerable, because I was just going to talk about like some stupid behavior that I changed, which is also good and like
no, for sure.
important,
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be super intense.
But I also don't want to just keep it surfacey. So here's the thing, guys. I would love, if you're willing, able, like, man, share your answer to all of these questions with us, but specifically this one. I feel like this one's really important.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is an old thing, an old part of you, your old self, that you feel like God has to carry the Narnia metaphor from a few weeks ago, like that God has come in and scratched off to reveal this new self. Because that's the thing, is that like I can only do this so much on my own, and Jake can only do this so much on his own. Euston's can only like scratch like one surface, but and I think that I mentioned this in talking to Nolan about this afterwards, who's just a C.S. Lewis nerd, so he was pumped about that. And he was like, isn't it so cool that like Lewis was savvy enough to understand and illustrate that like as humans we're not willing to harm ourselves in our growth, like that. Like Euston's was trying to, but he couldn't allow himself to go as deep as he needed to. Like he had to hurt himself.
Yeah.
And he couldn't. And so like Aslan came in and did the hard, painful work. And then also Aslan's the one that dressed him. He was like, I don't even know where these clothes came from, but I'm assuming that it was real because I'm wearing them right now. He's like, I think it was a dream.
Yeah.
And Edmund was like, it's not a dream. You're wearing clothes,
Because you're wearing
bro.
the clothes.
And you're not a dragon anymore. I saw you as a dragon.
Yeah.
So all that to say, God is the one doing this in us and through us and for us. And so I'd love to hear and see like in what ways God is working in your life.
Absolutely.
And growing in this way. for you. Be vulnerable like me. Cool. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Even share it. Like, let's get wild here. Like, share it with somebody.
Yeah.
So that our audience can grow.
I would add write a review too if you're on.
Oh, yeah.
Is it just on Apple Podcasts that you can do that, or is that on Spotify?
We're going to go way over time. I remember 2 things I have to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember 2. I don't know if we're talking about the same things. But yeah, you should write a review because that really helps other people see us. So you should do that. And yeah, share it on your Instagram and we'll share it too. So be like, listening to Jake and Shane talk about drip. And then...
That was last week. We didn't talk about drip at all this week.
Yeah, but I mean...
I have to talk about other things. Can you shut up now?
Yes.
Thank you. We're doing a special offering this month. Not us, the podcast, but us, Washington Avenue Christian Church, to help our friends and brothers and sisters in Ukraine. And so we're collecting a special offering throughout the month of April. So if you wouldn't mind, if you're willing and able to, you can go to our website, click on the Give tab, and underneath that there will be a special Ukraine offering tab that you can click on. It will take you to the CCB link wherein you can give a gift to the support efforts in Ukraine. If you have questions about that, you can contact us here at the church. I also wanted to let you know that Holy Week is almost here. And so this Sunday is Palm Sunday, and that's the start of Holy Week. On Friday from 5 to 7, we're going to be having a Good Friday worship service here. It's a come-and-go thing. We've done this basically every year that I've been here. And it's really great. We're just going to be playing like very contemplative hymns and songs and serving communion. Come and go all on your own, but make sure to take out a little bit of extra time on Friday to think about and pray about what Easter is all about, specifically Good Friday. And then Easter services are happening on Sunday. We're not doing anything out of the ordinary in regards to service times or anything like that. So 8 o'clock, 9:30, and 11 o'clock are our service times for Easter. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you more next week. Talk to you later.